Welcome to our Meet the Author videos. This one is with Mark Williamson, co-author of Transforming HR.
Thanks Luke, and hello, I'm Mark Williamson. I lead KPMG's HR transformation practice in the UK and have been working on this edition of the book for the last 2 years, so hopefully you'll find this interesting.
What are the 3 key benefits of transforming HR for a HR professional?
In terms of the 3, I think first and foremost the real benefit in the book is that it's very much a how-to guide. So it's very practically based, and it takes you through the journey of HR transformation. The second one for me is that the book is very much based upon our experience both as consultants and as line managers, and therefore it draws upon that rich vein of HR practitioner experience, which will clearly be of use to HR professionals. The third one for me is that you can pick this up at any point in your HR transformation journey. So no matter whether you're starting or you're finishing or you're in the middle somewhere in your HR transformation, this book can be used at any point in that.
What are the 3 key benefits of transforming HR for a HR student?
From the student's perspective, the 3 things for me are firstly really how the function itself from an HR's point of view is changing, how it has changed over the last 10 years and how it's likely to change over the next 10 years. And I think as a student from an HR perspective, it's so important to really have a good understanding of how the function will be in the future. So for me, that's the number 1. I think the second one, again from a student's perspective, is that there are many case studies in the book overall. So it's very practically based in terms of this is real experiences from real HR professionals with the commentary and analysis that we put around that as authors. And the final one is that it's full of very practical tools to help you as students of HR through your HR transformation journey. So there's some great tools in there that it's very easy to pick up and use straight away. So for me, those are the 3.
What has changed and been updated from the first edition?
Well, we've substantially rewritten the book, in fact. That wasn't our intent at the beginning. It was just to do a few updates and then for a new edition to go out. But we've written some new chapters in there around HR value proposition. We've split chapters around measurement and around benefits realisation. We've added a great deal in terms of the newer technologies, so Web 2, the collaborative type technologies around HR that many are using now. So we've done quite a substantial rewrite really overall. But I think actually the most important thing is that we've really focused far more on the subtitle to the book, i.e. creating value through people. And so this is really about how you set up your HR function to be as effective as possible in delivering value through people within the organisation.
How does this book complement the HR series from Elsevier, which aims to plug the gap between theory and practice implementation?
Well, my belief is that this book really sits at the very heart of that series overall. So this book is really around how to set up the HR function so that you're really able to deliver your people strategy as effectively as possible within the organisation. So for me, that's really at the heart of the whole series of books. However, I think there are some excellent linkages as well to some of the subject areas covered in some of the books. So the book around HR business partnering is very complementary to the areas that we cover in this book, particularly the linkages around HR operating model, how that links into business partnering, shared services, and the move away from transactions. We do also quite a lot around the changing role of HR, so organisation design and development and how that links into other areas of the series as well. So there are some very pragmatic linkages there. I think the final thing, and maybe the most important thing, is this book very much bridges theory and practice. So we've been able to incorporate some of the very latest research in this book, and we've linked that also to our very latest practical experiences as well. So myself, Martin and Mark, as practitioners and as consultants, we've brought our latest experiences there, and we've also brought a lot of the latest research into that.
What is your background and what kind of companies have you worked with?
Well, my background is both a line management background and a consulting background, so I sort of span those two areas. I've been on both sides of the table, and it covers both HR and IT. So I've got I think a pretty good understanding of the linkage between HR and technology, as well as HR shared services, HR operating model, and the areas around HR process. So my background is very much around how to make HR functions more effective and more efficient, and that's what a lot of the HR transformation book is all about. In terms of organisations I've worked with, it's a very broad range, both within the public and private sector, across telecoms, across pharmaceuticals, across engineering and manufacturing, central government, local government, so a very broad range of organisations overall. And covering all of those areas that I mentioned, so right from the links between HR strategy and the operating model that you put in place, and then how that flows through into potentially HR shared services, how you use centres of expertise and HR specialists, and how you implement HR technology to support all of that, and indeed into HR business partnering. So across that whole range, really.
Can you give a brief summary of one example transforming HR gives?
Yes, I can. I think the one I would pick here is the chapter that we've called Business Rationale. And that's part of how we've reshaped the book this time, in that we've gone all the way through in terms of developing the vision for HR and what that means in terms of the function. And in the Business Rationale, we've expanded what we previously did around business case to really cover what the HR operating model will look like. And I think making that linkage there has worked really well, and I think it's a great example of how that links the business case, i.e. both the case for change, so the hearts and minds change around why HR needs to transform, as well as the numbers, and as well as the benefits that you need to put around that in terms of hard numbers. So for me, operating model linked back to vision and then pushing forward into the business case for HR transformation, I think is a great example.
And finally, what do you see as the key people challenges facing organisations today?
Well, I go back to the subtitle of the book, Creating Value Through People. And if I think about that, that's clearly different in the context of individual organisations. So it will mean different things to different people. It might mean recruitment, it might mean retention, it might mean performance management systems and approaches, it might mean talent development, it might mean a whole host of things that as HR professionals you will get involved in. But the whole tenet of the book is how HR as a function needs to get itself fit and ready to create value through people within the organisation, and that's all about supporting the implementation of the people strategy. So for me, it's different in each organisation, but it's all about how you create value through people.